The Leadership Series Class of 2024. Wednesday, May 22nd.
Hello.
Hey, Keith.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
Joseph.
Yay.
Well, we're gonna start talking about person-centered planning. And so the thing we do at the beginning is just to give you like a little bit of overview, because you remember when we were talking about disability rights before the conference and we talk about laws. And so Rhode Island, you get DD services because of the law, and there will be an icebreaker right now. I'm just jumping in, but yeah, how's that? So we're gonna just give you a little overview because everybody keeps talking about Buddha. You hear Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. And so we're going to tell you, like, what is that? Where does that fit in? And what is the division of developmental disabilities besides a tongue twister? And get to the point where it's like, okay, now we can talk about it. And so, and then next week, just to give you a sneak preview, we're going to talk about, it's related to it, but it feels like we're going a little sideways because we're going to talk about, well, how do you make decisions? Because before you can start thinking about, what do I want in my plan? Like, it's good to know, like, well, how do you decide stuff? Because so many people, people who have a disability label, in our experience, have not been exposed, have not had the opportunity to try as many things and have as many experiences. And it doesn't necessarily mean you, but remember, we're talking about leadership, and not just for yourself, but helping empower other people too. So we're going to just talk some stuff about how do you make a decision. And Dan's hand was up. Yeah, Dan?
Are you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
I asked around. I have some people that can come to the graduation.
Oh, good. All right. Okay. Excellent.
Yes. But we just talked about it's supposed to stay on topic, so you need to.
Well, it's still about the
But
class.
it's exciting. It's exciting. Yep.
Yeah.
Graduation. But now we're going to stay. So for our icebreaker, last week we said we wanted everybody to try to find a copy of your support plan. And that just reminded me, Mark's not here yet. So let's just let's practice again, not raising your hand while one person's talking though. Everybody start talking. No. So yes, Joe.
I couldn't get a paper. My mom was supposed to
So
give
wait,
me
you're
one,
taking hold, because so that's a good example. So of just practice holding on to that, because I didn't finish what I was saying about it. Okay, so what we want to do is hear everyone's experience with that. And if you don't have a support plan when it's your turn, then if you have another experience from someone else or if you just want to share a silly joke, whatever works. But we just want to know if you were able to get a copy of your plan. We don't need the long version. We don't need the names of anybody if someone told you no. And if you and Carmen gets an A+ because she's already holding something up, baby.
Look at that.
So let's start with Carmen and then go towards everybody should be in the same position, right? Morella's next to Carmen that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, my screen, something's backwards, but you go ahead, Carmen. Tell us about that experience, baby. Tell your name too. Just pretend that we don't know who you are by now.
My name is Carmen. I'm 26 years old. My favorite color is yellow, and I have my plan in my hands.
Awesome.
Nice.
How'd you get that?
Well done.
My program has a copy of it.
So did you say I want a copy of my plan?
No, they just let me touch the plan. Like, let me take it out and hold it. That's it.
So now, that copy in your hand belongs to, you think it belongs to your program?
Yes, but even it does say me, I'm not the true owner of it.
Why do you say that?
Because it doesn't belong to me.
It is.
It does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So
So that's it. I know DNR are both like, good.
That home. You could take that home because that is yours.
Yes,
If
but
that's the one that came out of
Yeah.
that's good. I'm so glad you said that, Carmen, because
Yeah.
so many people think something like that. They're like, well, my agency has a copy, it's their copy. It's like, well, the person who should have the copy the most is the person who it's about. And then you can give copies to everybody else. Because it says the things that you're supposed to be getting, because your services are paid for with money that has rules. So it's Medicaid money. And remember, we talked about home and community-based rules that you have to follow. So you need to have your plan. You need to be able to look at it and say, wait a minute, I'm not getting this thing I want. Or, oh, I'm supposed to, or maybe I want to change this thing that I'm working on in my plan. And so you need to have your own copy. And like Lena just said, you can take that. If that's a copy that came out of the booklet that's there, then get out that Xerox machine, baby. Copy machine. It's not called a
And-
Xerox machine anymore.
Right, here's the thing though.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable keeping it around because then I can lose it.
So what you can do, you can cross your name off of it. So on any personal information, right? That would be the first thing. Just cross it off. And then so what if you lose it? Go back and say, I need another copy. And you can say that as many times as you want. But if you carried it around, I mean, I don't know that I'd carry it around with me like go to the movies and pull out my support plan, but have a copy where you live, if and if you don't, and that's another good point you brought up. If you don't want to if you don't want to bring it around, then you designate it. You give it to Lena and say, I'm designating you to hold on, put this somewhere, put it in your desk or something for me. And I always know where I can get it. As long as you know where it is and how to get it, but it's yours.
Right.
Like you are a paying customer and you're paying, what is it, Refocus that you get support from?
Yes.
You know
You're
what that-
paying them. You're a paying customer and they will agree. I know the people that run they will agree that you're the one. Like they wouldn't say that's not a copy. If somebody over there is telling you it's not yours, then they are wrong. You and Lena can take them on after.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Lena is the person I trust the most.
So if you don't want to carry a copy around, say, hey, can you hold on to this for me? But if you do have it and you want to bring it around, you guys, if you have it and you're like, I think I'm going to bring this here and there, I would cross off my personal information on it just in case you lose it somewhere and somebody's like, because they put everything in their plan. Your plan has parts about your medical stuff and any kind of, if you have any kind of issues, any behavior things, which I always think behavior is just because
It also has
communicate
personal
what you're saying.
information, like
Yeah, your address, and your
address.
date of birth, and all kinds of things. They could steal your identity with it. So I would cross off that information.
Yep.
Okay,
But-
so
Definitely give it to Lena. And
Okay.
I would tell you now my date of birth on here is wrong.
oh well, then that plan is wrong. You need to tell them to correct it. That's just messed up, man. Right here with this. My date of birth is wrong.
They can't argue with me. That's my right.
You are over 18 though, right? Just making sure, because DD services, you have to be 18 to start to get them because they're for adults. You can be 17 when you're eligible at 17,
Yeah.
but you have to be 18 before you start to get them.
I'm 26 years old.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And tell them though, correct it. It be, and that's the other thing, when you get your plan, it should be the way you want it to look like, and if you want the personal information, like if you want something like if you have a problem with incontinence or something and you want that in a private part, so that if you share some things with people, you don't have to share the whole thing with people. If you want just a copy of your goals, if you just want your goals to carry around, then pull that part out, or out. You don't have to bring everything, your height, your weight, your social security number, the last time you had a bowel movement, that doesn't have to go anywhere. It's totally your stuff.
The only thing I want a copy of is my goals.
There you
I
go,
just
then
took
do
a
that.
picture.
That's the most important thing to have. Really, your goals and how you're going to achieve them is the most important thing for you guys, because that's the part that looks like it says, because that's the contract you have with who's supporting you. These are the goals I'm going to work on, and this is what you're going to do for me. And you show them. Like I'm pointing at my hand. Yeah, Dee.
There's a lot of paper in that.
Yeah.
In that.
You don't have to take all of it.
ISP. So yeah. So if you just want your goals, that's what you should have.
Okay. Who else wants? I think we should probably, just for icebreaker, just instead of making everybody go in order, Dee, you think maybe people that got it that want to say something about it?
Yeah, I think yeah.
Because
So
we all know each other, so we're gonna have our little conversation here, and then we'll get into some of the. So Morella is next, so she's gonna say something. Next.
Okay, so I do not have an ISP, but I do help the folks to make ISP. So I can, but what I love to do about each individual ISP, it's, I can talk right now, please. Sorry.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, no, thank you. And but at each person program book, like, so kind of like the staff to know about each individual, I I'm gonna put Nicole on a spot since we know Nicole. But I do pictures from the previous year from about herself. So it's pretty much like her strengths, her support needs. So describes a little bit about her and what's that, their likes, their dislikes. And then I have the future goals too with her pictures there too. So everybody knows, and then it's like literally kind of
That's
big
beautiful.
letters, and she can read it herself too. It's not all like, I mean, we have documentation, like we data for the staff, but and then it's a lot of pictures too about herself, like what she likes. So then when we have new hires, whatever folks is like, oh, or even herself, oh, look what I did this year and all that. So it's pretty kind of detailed instead of having like 100+ pages in the program book. As and everything else, like you said, that behavioral support plan and nursing care plan, it's very summarized, like for
Yeah.
people to understand, because a lot of it's so thrown in there. But that's my pride. I do that with each individual.
Yeah,
and
that's
put things
nice.
together.
And
Yeah,
you
so
just said you do it with each individual. So
with
so
each
Nicole,
individual,
with
yeah,
each person, not just two or
Nicole. I
four,
just
with.
share her since we
Yeah.
all know her.
But the people you
yeah,
do it with that get support are part of it.
Yeah,
Like they're,
yeah.
you know, I mean, these are my pictures
Yeah,
in here and stuff. That's the
yeah.
thing too. Because your
Mm.
plan should never be done for you or to you. With
No,
you,
so we
you know,
yeah,
with you.
exactly. Yeah. So we work
Nice.
together, we put pictures, like she liked the pink color, so we do that on the
Yeah, that's
so yeah, so
awesome.
everybody has different, and everybody has a code what they like, so we work on those. So it's everybody's involved pretty much.
And she can
So,
reach
yeah.
that whenever she wants. She knows where that is to get
Yeah,
it.
it's her book, has her
Yep,
name on, and
yep.
then it's like
Nice.
everybody, a staff herself, she can go, it's her, yep.
Yep.
So
So as long as you guys know where it is and you can access it, but I love that you just said it's in big letters so she can understand. It's like a 3-ring binder, Dan. It's got pictures, like collage pictures and the words and the things that are important to her. That's beautiful. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Who wants to say something next? Mark. Mark was texting me. We were texting back and forth. How'd it go, Mark?
Oh, we can't. Yeah, we can't hear you,
There's
Mark.
no sound, Mark.
Is it because the mic's not in front of your face? I mean, it should
Mi-
still hear
oh.
something. Or we should still hear something. Now you're mute. No, it's not because it's the mic. It's.
Hmm.
Can you unplug it and replug it in? Maybe the connection's loose. Or block your ears. It gets. Yeah. All right. So there's a
Yeah,
connection.
we can hear you now.
Hello.
I,
Yeah.
No. No.
I wonder if I wonder if the headphones are working, Mark.
Try unplugging it and leave it unplugged for a little bit more.
Okay. What did we do before when this happened? Did you have to leave and come back? Is that no?
No,
Was it that the headphones weren't connected to the audio thing or something?
Yeah, he's checking. You just unplug. You just.
He needed to switch devices last time to something else. No.
Did you change it on your input, your audio, to make sure it's the right microphone? I think we did that. If you look where are you on a computer? Computer, thumb up. It's not it's not an iPad, it's a computer. You can hear us, so you're gonna want, so you might look where the audio microphone is. I'm gonna show you. I think I showed you this before, so this might be right. This seems familiar here. Where's
Oh wait, I can.
yes.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Hear me
can.
now.
Hello?
All right. Yeah.
Yes. Well, first off, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was late. I was doing a little food shopping. I don't know if you
Fine.
got
You're
my
here
email.
now. You're here now.
Yeah, I sent Michelle an email not too long ago saying I'm gonna be a little late. I was
Oh.
food shopping. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So did you end up getting a copy of your plan this week, Mark?
Yes, I did. It's in my
Yay!
bureau.
It's what?
Oh. It's in
Yep.
his bureau.
So
It's a
yes,
bureau.
yes.
Okay, so how'd you get that? Because you said at first we were going back and forth through text and you were having so you just asked them and they gave you a copy to bring home?
Yeah, I literally had to stop at one of the West Bay offices and I got it no problem.
Awesome. Damn it.
Awesome.
So next year, when you have your meeting, because that's another tip, you guys, whenever you have your meeting, you say, I'd like a copy of this as soon as it's available. Not that you have to go finding it, but tell them you want, make it, like, put it on them that they have to get you a copy.
Mm.
Right.
Because they do, like, they're supposed to. Did you sign it? Is your signature on the plan? Because that was what you had said too, that somebody else signed it. Did you put your signature on it?
I didn't even know there was a signature on there.
So there you go. So that's a thing to work on. To everyone who has a support plan, you should sign it. Like, you should have your signature saying, yes, this is my plan. The state
You
law
have-
says all the preparers, and guess what? You're a preparer.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's
you
your
have
plan.
you have to sign it, otherwise it doesn't get submitted.
Wait.
So,
Oh, you think so, Dee, but
unless people are forging people's names.
well, not for sometimes people say, is this your plan you approve, and they'll sign it for you. There's a difference. Like, now, see, now there Lena's looking. I mean, Carmen and Lena are looking. Is your signature on there, Lena?
Carmen?
So
I
when
did it again. I do it all the time.
when we do the meetings, she does sign it, but I don't think this one is a signed version. I think the agency has the signed version.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just looked at my thing just now, and there is a signature.
Your signature?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I just looked through it just now, and there is
Yeah.
a signature. Mine.
But you say your signature, so you sign, because that's what you want. And even if you had somebody sign it for you, as long as you okayed it, it still counts. But if somebody signed it and you're like, that's not my signature, I don't know what that
Yeah,
is.
I guess you need, the point
And-
is that you need to know.
Yeah.
like,
And I would ask for a copy of my signed plan, because then it's a legal document. If you have it and it doesn't have your signature on it, it's not really a legal document. They can give you a copy of the one with your signature, but instead of just, here's your plan, but this isn't the signed copy, because that's not the official one, like Dee said, that got submitted to the state. I'm gonna meet you again, Mark, because we're hearing the
Because I know I signed.
start.
I know I signed it when I had my ISP.
Yeah, that's
so they
exactly what you're
maybe
supposed to
signed
do.
it. Yeah, so it should be good.
And it is good, as long as it's, if you don't, the reason too, if you don't agree with it, don't sign it.
Yeah.
Because it does, they can't approve it. Like Dee said, I mean, sometimes it gets snuck in somehow, some way. I signed it for you, but
Right.
if you don't approve it, I keep muting you, Mark, because you keep breathing.
You just have to pull your microphone a
I
little
think-
away from your
Yeah,
mouth.
just a little bit.
Just hearing you breathing really loud. Yeah.
Now try it.
Can you guys still hear me now?
It's
Perfect.
really low now.
It's a very
How
there you
about
go.
now?
There you go. There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
With no breathing. Good. Yeah.
I appreciate the breathing thing though, because I always sound like Darth Vader. But but now somebody else, who else wants to talk about it? So everybody else, you can mute yourself again now, Mark. Who else wants to talk about it? Nick said he, I saw
Nicholas?
your hand
Yeah.
going up.
Yep.
Yeah, I have mine too.
Yeah. Did you have it there already?
No, George had to print it out for me.
No, but George had it in the house where you live.
He had, I think the coordinator sent him an email with
Okay.
the exact one, and he just had to print it out at home for me.
Does it have your signature on it?
No, but it has everyone who was at my meeting on it.
Okay. You want to make sure, ask George to help you do this, because he's a good guy. Say, listen, I need to make sure there's a copy with my signature on it, because it's my plan.
Okay.
Like, and they might have, like Mark said, that, like Lena said, they might have had a copy that doesn't have your signature on it, but you really need the copy because it's a legal document, because otherwise you could go to them and, when you go to somebody with a check and you say, here, I paid you, and they're like, but you didn't sign it. Well, then it doesn't do anything. So you really need to have your.
Especially if they sent it through the email, they probably thought you didn't need that page or something, but you do need,
It's yours. It's just like
Yeah.
a responsible. It's a thing to do to say, and it kind of like to assert also that you know what's going on, and you're this is a legal thing, and you appreciate it, and you're the customer, and you know, just to kind of like not be the one on the receiving end of everything, but taking a little charge of stuff.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Who else wants to talk about it?
Good job, Nicholas. We're getting
Ian?
it done.
Dan wants to go. Go ahead, Dan. And then I saw your hand after Anna.
You're ready?
Yep.
Okay, Auntie Rhonda has, my plan.
What else do you want to tell them?
She's got a file for me.
But what did I emailed the person that wrote it?
Oh, Patricia,
Yeah. And what did I email her about?
a Braille copy.
Yes.
All right, Amethyst, you're up, Amethyst. What did she say? Did she write back?
No, she's looking into it.
Okay. Amethyst was going to look into that for us.
I did ask Anne, she's my boss, and I think Dee Dee would cover it, but we didn't get a chance to talk about more details. But if you needed a copy, you shouldn't have to pay for it.
Okay.
So should I continue to pursue the writer? The ISP plan writer?
I would think so for now. Like I'll keep
Okay.
following up. There's been a lot going on, so I haven't actually had to have a better conversation, but she did say at least that in the email.
Okay.
Can you text me back if you find out anything, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think we had asked Ann, and Michelle and I met with Ann for something else last week, and I just, whenever I have an opportunity, I'm like, oh, by the way. So she said Amethyst already asked her that. I'm like, good, she forgot.
Yeah.
But I think
And this
I
was
told
just the
Ann-
next day. It was Thursday.
Yeah,
Is it-
you're fast.
Yeah, you're fast, Amethyst.
But I told Ann, I'm pretty sure I told Ann, because the person who did the brailing for the song, was that okay, Dan? The braille
Yes.
copy? Because
I was able to read it okay.
she has her own business, so she might be a resource if the plan, it needs to be like in a Word doc, you know, I think that she can enter, because I think she might also be blind and uses software to do it. But she has her own business, so I mean, I can give you that contact stuff if you want. I think I told Ann, and I think she said yes, she wanted it, and then I just forgot. So what a surprise!
Dan was worried about the contact list, hoping that they didn't do any typographical errors, because then he wouldn't have somebody's phone number correct. But so far, so good. Everybody's number's been correct.
All right.
Yeah.
No typographical errors.
If you ever, well, actually, did we give you the written copy, like just the regular plain text copy? No?
Yes.
Online, you know,
Okay.
on the website. Yeah. On the class website, the written copies there.
Of the names.
Oh, is
No,
it?
but you don't have the contact list of everybody in class. In French, you only have the braille.
Right. Yes.
Oh,
We have
okay.
Everybody's
I
gonna
will
get the
send
copy in
you-
print.
Yes. I'll send you just the Excel sheet with everybody's contact information so you
But-
can compare it and make sure.
Yeah, you know what we
Okay.
didn't do before we sent that to the person to braille it was double check with everybody. So we'll do that with at one point. With
I have it
everybody.
in Braille though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the words to the
Anna
song.
wanted to.
are right.
Yeah. What's
But
that?
Go ahead. We're good.
Yeah, they all came together. The song and the contact list, they all came together.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yep.
And you
And-
guys are going
And I
to
was
be getting
able to read
yearbooks.
everything. And I was able to read everything. I
Oh,
know trouble
Good.
reading
So she did it.
anything.
Okay. So the person was
Good.
okay. That was my
Yes.
the reason I was asking was to make sure it
Yeah.
seemed good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So-
all good.
There were no wrong phone numbers, so
No.
that's the
Alright.
important
That's good.
thing.
Oh,
That's
boy.
good.
Hey.
Nice.
And they gave, and I was able to read all the names too.
Names
Good.
and addresses and email addresses.
Right.
Had it all.
They did the
Alright.
address and email address first and then the phone numbers.
All right. So Anna's gonna tell us about her. She had her hand up next. I'm just moving it so we can get to a little bit of the other information too. But this is good because there's stuff to talk about and learn about what everybody is
Yeah.
saying. So this is really good.
So I don't have a DD plan from Newport. I'm not even from Newport. I'm just here because of my job, but I was in services back in Connecticut of DDS and BRS, but I'm gonna be ending my service with them back in Connecticut, but my plan is knowing it myself, that I have my own plan by just knowing it myself.
That's exactly it, you guys. If you don't get services, you can still have a plan for yourself. You can still have like goals and figure out how to get them and, you know, think outside the box with some of it. I mean, that's exactly it, Anna. That's exactly it. And the other
Yeah.
good thing is you work with people over at Looking Upwards. I mean, you must
Yeah, I
work with
do.
some people who get services, so it's good to know that too, because
Yeah.
anyone who gets DD services in Rhode Island, as we'll see in this, you must have a service plan to get services. You can't just start getting services. You need to have a service plan first that's approved.
Yeah, because like I know my own goals. I know my own behaviors. I know everything about myself.
Yep.
So that's all I need.
Yeah, that's all you need. We're just doing this part because, you know, today we're going to talk about the DD service system, which, you know, we said when people applied, we said that the big focus is DD services because so many people that get DD services don't really know much about where they come from or how or what or where or who and if you guys learn about it, you can tell other people about it too. So Joe, is your hand up next?
Anna, your video went off. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
She's eating lunch. She asked us ahead of time, is it okay if I turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Anna. Yeah.
Oh, it's even
Eh.
Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? No, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Your plan. Do you have your copy of your plan?
I don't have it on me. My mom has it, but she needs to let me have a copy. But I do have a plan. So we meet every single year to write up a plan about our goals, our what we want to accomplish throughout the year. We do
You
have
mean your
all-
goals, what you want accomplished,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure you're. Because people, but that point, Joe, because a lot of people, not a lot, but in our experience, there's people that talk about it like it's a whole family thing, and your family is a part of it, but they're your goals. And so if your family doesn't want you to get married and you do, guess who wins? You. You know, if your parents are like, no, you can't do that. You're not able to get a job. You're not able to have children. Not able to go to college. You're not able to this, that, or whatever. And you want to. The plan supports what you want, not what your family thinks is best. You know what they want for you. And even if you have a guardian, it's not what they decide is best for you. It's what they think they find out what you want and help with that. It's not like they decide.
I
for
don't
you.
have a guardian. I'm
just saying in general for people to know.
Yeah,
this.
And you know, your family and friends can be a part of it.
You want them to.
And help you if you want them to, and help you decide. Like if you know, if you need that help. But in general, overall, it's your life, it's your goals.
Lena's hand is up.
Thank you, Dee.
She was waiting.
Carmen.
I mean,
Carmen.
oh my gosh.
You
I'm
gotta
gonna
be
switch your
doing it.
names, okay? From now on, I'm gonna call you Carlina. Both of you. Carlina!
That's a nice one.
Carlina, yes, Carlina.
Actually, I have a guardian that would disagree with you.
Well, you're gonna talk to Dee because she will set.
Yeah.
Dee's a guardian. Are you still a guardian, or you again?
Yeah,
the person passed
no.
away, but Dee knows the ins and outs. And so, Dee, the right way for a guardian is
The right way that a guardian should be is that they should take into account what you want and help you figure out how you could get there.
There's a lot of stuff that I want, but it's not gonna happen. Not with an adult or friend right here.
Well, so listen, it doesn't mean the world. Like, you might want to be an astronaut and you might not be able to be an astronaut. But next week, we're going to talk about decision making and responsible decision making. But if it's a legitimate, responsible decision that you are choosing and it's not going to kill you, it's not going to break your bank, it's like
It's not going to hurt anybody else.
It's not going to hurt anybody else, then having a guardian doesn't mean they get to take over your life.
Right.
They're like to guard so that you're safe, you know, guard you, but not control you. And that is a big misunderstanding. And the other thing that we're still, one of our things on the back burner to try to talk to the legal system about is when you have a guardian, like it's really hard to undo it. But a lot of times people get a guardian because, oh, my child is going to turn 18 and I want to protect them and help them. And so I'm going to become their guardian because that's the easiest pathway to help them move it along. And
Well,
it's not always.
Yeah, and actually it starts in the school system.
Yeah.
People you know, told before they leave school that they need to get guardianship.
And there's a new legal,
So-
it's relatively new, called supported decision making, which is a
Yep.
third. You can have a guardian. You cannot have you can also have a partial guardian. Like maybe you just have a guardian for your financial stuff or your medical or something. You don't have a guardian for every single decision in life. And if you have one and you're cool with it, then that's fine too. Just so you know, we're not like bashing, because you know some people it's like you just need somebody to do certain things for you. Like my husband does all the finances. He's like my financial guardian because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna give you it here. But you want but you have to be okay with it. You shouldn't be in a place where it's like I have no choice and know whatever I want. My life is not my own because I have a guardian, because that's not what it means. But there is another legal option, and once we figure out how to, you know, move along, how do people who, you know, don't really need or want or be in this position to have a guardian, and that, because it just gets approved too quickly. Like it's just like an
It's
option
really
that's-
easy. It's really easy to get a guardian. It's really hard to undo it.
Yeah. But if you have one, like Carmen, if you have a guardian and you're fine, it's not awful. I mean, we know people that have them. It doesn't take anything away from you as a human being. It really doesn't. But you know, honestly, you seem like a person who is capable of making more of your own decisions in your life. And I see Carlina shaking her head. So yeah. So like, you know, that is something to pursue, to say, listen, I really don't. And it's hard because when the person's your guardian and they're your family too, and you want to try to undo them being your guardian and they're your family, and it's like, it's not that I don't love you. It's just, I'm an adult and I want to be an adult. It's, you know, it's a bigger conversation.
That is what I feel. My mom is my good guardian, and since I'm over the age of 18, I'm also my own guardian too. So I understand.
So wait a minute, what do you mean you're your own guardian? When you either have a guardian or you don't have a guardian?
Both. My mom is my legal one, but
Legal.
I'm also my own guardian too. So
You mean she's your guardian, but she lets you make your own decisions?
yes, but
Yeah.
she's a legal. She's a legal one.
A legal guardian, which is the person that like helps guard you, but like lets you decide, and then they help, you know, make sure that you're not being taken advantage of or doing something like deciding to walk a cliff. Like imagine if you decided, I want to walk off a cliff. I'm going to walk off a cliff. And somebody else comes along and says, wait a minute, you know, you'll kill yourself. It's not safe. It's too far up. You see there's a cliff there, like all that kind of stuff. And if you're still going to walk off the cliff, then, you know, you might need a guardian to help you not walk off the cliff. Because some people need a guardian for stuff.
And I told her,
Yeah.
and I told her there for a long time, but I understand about the legal, but I want it to be more equal.
Well, then you should talk to your mom, because you know you seem like you've got cool parents that came. I met your mom at the dinner dance, and
yes, I do.
you know you can talk to them and say, "Listen, what can we do to undo this guardian thing?" Or just make sure that she knows you want to be more in control. And you know, if she's doing things that are making you feel less in control, say stuff to her. You know, I mean, Anna, I'm gonna be 60 next month, okay, and my mom is still tries to take care of me and tell me what to do. And it's like, back off, lady, back off. All right.
But if I'm correct, Anna, I think our conversation at breakfast after the dinner dance, you said that you and your mom have done a lot of talking about it, and you've really worked through some things so you can be more independent and you make the decisions. And
and that's how a guardian
never known
works.
Anybody who has more clear goals in life than you. So, you know what you want. Yeah.
And I'm gonna just encourage people to look at the supported decision-making website and kind of figure, look at that, and because that's a whole other way.
So do you have to send us the link and we'll give it to people?
Absolutely.
We'll give it to people, yeah.
But that's a whole different way of helping people make decisions, but also choosing who you want to help do, who you want to help you do that. So it's another.
They're a legal entity. They're legally allowed to help you, do so. Because right now it's like if you don't have a guardian and there's people that want to help you with the decision, it's like, well, big whoop. That's like, go out and have a beer and talk about it. That's not the same thing as having a person who's your legal guard, your legally a supported decision maker in your life. You have a contract with them to help you do that and to help you, and they're able to like help fill that gap. But ultimately, they're going to make sure you have all the information you need and that you understand it. And then if you still want to walk off the cliff, you can be an idiot. No.
Yeah.
We're walking off a cliff. Come on.
It's legal, so you sign a contract, you both sign a contract.
And just so
It's
you know, you
before
really
the-
can't, it's not, you're not allowed to harm your, I mean, there's laws, you really
Yeah,
can't.
there's a law against
Just for
that.
everybody. I'm not allowed to walk off a cliff either, like, you know. Anyone else want to have anything else to say about support plans? You want to see some boring slides?
Your
Boring
slides aren't
slides?
boring. They're not boring.
Carmen has more.
Carmen,
Carlina!
Actually, Mom and I didn't sign a paper. She just asked me to be my guardian. So technically, yes, I can get out of it, but I'm just afraid of hurting her feelings.
Oh.
well, that's what we talked about. right?
Anna, how was your convert? Were you afraid of hurting your mom's feelings?
So I struggled with people pleasing,
Yeah.
and now I'm out of it, and I'm now able to use my voice and say no if needed. So I had really overcome that.
Even if it's your mother, you can still overcome it, right? You can still say no to
Yes.
her.
Yeah, because
Oh.
I have a lot more respect for my parents. And not only respect for my parents, but I see them, that's the way I see, that we are all human
Yeah,
beings.
we're all people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carlina,
Yeah.
Carmen, I'm sorry, that's gonna stick. I'm gonna
Yep.
get t-shirts and
It
stuff.
is gonna
Carlina,
stick.
you live with your mom? You live with your mom?
Yes, I live with my mom and dad.
So that makes it hard because you don't want to hurt their feelings and they're right there. And, but, there's ways to have some conversations with them. I mean, are there's things you say you want to do and they're like, no.
Yes, hang out with friends on my own, but being the mother that she is, keep saying no. And I get that she loves me, but I'm growing up. And that's what she doesn't get, that she still sees me as a 3-year-old child.
Yeah, my
that
mom
needs
does too.
Loving, protecting, and feeding.
I'm not kidding you. My mom, she's like, she's like, but she puts it in a way where she's just like, I'm just going to suggest. And it's like, no, you're not. You're trying to tell me what to do, Mom, But, there's way, and it's not going to be something we're going to solve right now in this conversation, but we could talk about it more. I mean, and you have a good ally right there and a good friend in the other Carlina, the Lena Carlina, not the Carmen Carlina, the Lena Carlina. Like,
And I did talk to her. It's just that it's so very, very hard to talk to her calmly. It just stresses me out.
Yeah.
Can I add on?
Yeah.
I can really understand what you are going through. I have the same empathy like with my parents, and I know it's not easy, but I know it will get better soon by knowing yourself and knowing when to defend for yourself and able to know when needed, but in a nice way.
Kind of like choose your battles, like know what's really important to you and know what kind of stuff it's like, fine, but the stuff that's important to you, that's your life, Carmen. Like, I'm sorry, but our parents are not going to be around forever. And that's just that's just the truth. And so it's your life. It's not their life. So
we are little by little getting her mother to be more open to having her be more independent. Like, we worked together and we got her a phone.
Yeah.
And she's able to bring the phone with her wherever she wants now, where originally her mom said she couldn't because she was afraid she was going to lose it. And then I coached Carmen on how to calmly approach her mom about
Yeah,
talking about wanting to be treated like an adult.
yeah.
So there's another reason why she won't let me have it.
You don't have to tell us if you don't want to, but
No,
if you want to, you
no.
can.
Um,
But there's another reason, and so it's hard to deal with.
no, yes, I had I don't think you guys know this, but Lena does.
You
I
could just say that you had a past.
I
You
had
had
a
a pass. Don't tell us
I-
details.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
Oh.
very stressful past, and
Yeah.
I
So
do
she's
have,
protecting you. She's trying to protect you.
I really do
Yeah.
have anger, and it's very hard to talk to her
Yeah.
calmly.
Yeah.
So you know, you actually could, just as a suggestion, you could actually put something about that in your plan to say, I would like to get some support to help me with this situation. And if it's in your plan, then it's something that, you know, you can have your agency back you up about, you know, because you're the person. And you said she's not legally your guardian. You said you never signed anything? Like she never signed it? Did you go to court and get a piece of paper? I thought you said you didn't.
Mom went to court. I did not went to court.
Yeah, that's not, were you young? Were you still a kid when she went? Yeah, so she might really be your guardian, which is part of why we hate that part of the system, right? Dee and I are like,
Yeah,
because people get their rights taken away from them without even having a say in it, you know? But it doesn't mean that some people don't need guardians. I mean, it's okay if you have one and your life is working out okay, then good for you, because we all need support, and it comes in different ways, shapes, and forms. And you know, but if it's something that's oppressive to you, then don't just settle for it. You don't just have to settle for somebody else telling you how to live your life. You do not. Like there's even legal recourse if you had to, you know, if you really had to. But then again, you know, she's your mom and she loves you, and so I understand living with her and not wanting to cause, you know, tension and waves and
yeah.
and you
'cause-
said like you have anger issues too, so like that probably is not a good combination if you're both getting riled up about it. But you could put it in your plan and say, I'd like some help with this. Maybe you want to go to some counselor who can help you with, you know, you can put that in your plan, who can help you talk through those things.
I actually have one, and we've been talking, and it's the point of being so close.
Yeah.
Mom is just the fact that I just had enough and made me want to leave.
Yeah.
But I can't do that because I don't know how to fend for myself yet.
And you know, if you love your mom, and you also don't want to just burn bridges totally, you know. So you know, it's a process, and like you said, and you've got a good friend there in Carnina. Now it's always going to be Carnina, but you know, if you have, like you said, you trust her, so keep talking to her, because she's one of the keepers. So you know, yeah. Anybody else have any other things to share about this whole issue there? We're not shutting you down, Carmen. You keep speaking up for yourself. You really just one step at a time, little bits at a little bits. Because you know,
believe me, she's not going anywhere. Not even if she tried.
Right.
Deb, I did send you the website.
Okay, we'll send it after class.
Yep.
Okay, now the boring slides.
Now the boring slides. So we'll get through some of these, and this is again like this will be on the. Oh, what did I do? I pushed the wrong thing open. We'll push the yeah. We will be able to watch this on the recording and stuff, but this is just some general, and some of it's a little bit like we're talking about this, and now we're talking about that, and we're talking about this. But the idea is because we had talked about the DD system and laws and disability history and all that. And in Rhode Island, it's the law that you need to have a service plan, that people who are part of the DD system, you apply, you get approved, and then you write a service plan and it gets approved and you get funding. And then it has to match up to the things that are in your plan. So that was all that's in it. So we don't have to do anything now. Here, so I'll show you. Here we go. So Amethyst is from the DD system, so she'll read some of these.
So
We
do you
read
want
that.
Amethyst to read
Yes,
that?
I do. Yeah, just
Okay.
that title one even. Yeah.
She was saying it very softly,
I know,
Amethyst.
it's-
It sounded more like a suggestion.
I know, I like
or-
muttered it like.
All right, this slide says intro to the RIDD service system, and there's the Advocates in Action logo on it.
And RI is Rhode Island, and DD is Donald Duck. So it's the Rhode Island Donald Duck Service System,
According to Deb.
according to Duck. Developmental Disability Service System, DD Services. And so here's how it looks. So first, just so you know, this is it's a lot to cover. It's that little cartoon. There's a cartoon of an elephant, and it says, "How do you eat an elephant?" And it says 1 bite at a time. So, but really, I just change it with cheese. Picture how do you eat a block of cheese? Because I'm a vegetarian, so I'm not eating an elephant. So how do you eat a block of cheese 1 bite at a time? But so there's a lot to this. Like there's so much, I scaled down the big fat version because I'm like, ooh, I don't want to make anybody ill. So like the overdone version is not. You're not going to see that. We do in our graduate academy. We have the full overdone version that we spend 4 weeks talking about, just that part. So this is just some stuff from it. But now you want us to do the graduate academy. I knew. All right. Now this is for you to read, Amethyst, because there's a lot of words and it's a picture of a law book and what?
Is that like a judge gavel?
Yeah, gavel book. I meant the words, but yeah.
Ah, yeah, the words.
Yeah.
So
I
it
thought she
says-
meant the gavel too. So
Yeah. What did I say? The judge book? Is that what I said?
You
You
said
said
law
the book
and
and the what?
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know what I
yeah,
said.
So this says RI General Law and DD Services. So RI General Laws, I don't know how to read these, but 40.1-21-1.
That's the law that tells you this, what right here says on the slide.
The Department of Behavioral Healthcare Developmental Disabilities in Hospitals shall be required to plan, develop, coordinate, and administer a complete, comprehensive, and integrated statewide program for developmentally disabled adults.
Woo woo, there's a lot of big words there. Okay. So this is how it, so the law, Rhode Island has a law and it says you got to do this. You got to make this whole system to support people who have developmental disabilities. We don't like the non-people first language that it has in there. We would change that, but it's a little thing. Like you should say adults with developmental disabilities, not developmentally disabled adults, because it's labeling people. But anyway, that's aside from that. This is just that there's a law that there has to be a system to support people. So it's not just we just had a feel good moment and decided, hey, let's just support people. No, it's the law. It's the law. Da-dum! Whatever that legal sound is. So this is a chart. I'll do this one because this is a chart, which is why I said these are boring slides. But you know what? You can go on Jeopardy afterwards, Rhode Island Jeopardy, and you can win. Because so this has on the top, it says Rhode Island Government and DD Services, because there's a law. So here's how we get how they do it. So the law, so there's on the left, there's a map that says the state of Rhode Island. That's a map of Rhode Island. And then on the right, there's the Rhode Island seal, state of Rhode Island, hope, and it's a insignia. It's what are those things called? A crest with an arrow with an anchor in it. That's the Rhode Island state symbol. And this, so the top part of that is just the government. This had a lot more information on it, and I toned it down. It's just there's the legislature in Rhode Island, which is the representatives and the senators that we all vote for in different, depending where you live. Not us, not me and Michelle, because we don't live in Rhode Island, but there's that. And then there's the executive, which is, who knows who's in charge of the executive? Raise your hand if you know who's in charge of the executive branch in Rhode Island. The big head honcho, not his name, but just what is he? Or her, it used to be a her. And then she went and worked for the federal government. I'm giving you hints. Used to be Gina. Yeah, Morella.
Yeah, I was going to say Gina, yes.
Yeah, and she was the what? What was she? Rhode Island?
Was she the Rhode Island? I forgot what she was, something. I don't know.
Governor. She was the governor. I know. She was the
Governor, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to
And
say
now
that,
it's
yeah.
Dan, what's his last name? McAfee?
McKee.
McKee. He was her assistant. Now he was assistant governor, lieutenant governor.
Lieutenant governor.
Who's the assistant governor? No. So that's the executive. It's the same idea as federal government. It would be the president in the federal government. And in Rhode Island, it's the executive is the governor. And then on the right side is the judiciary, which I can never say that word right. Judiciary. The judges, the court system. And so part of that is underneath that, what they all came up with was, okay, so we're the government And under that, we made 11 different state agencies because we love bureaucracy. So we made 11 different state agencies to run everything and do everything and make all those laws. How are we going to fulfill all those laws and follow the law? And there's Department of Administration, Department of Business Regulations, Department of Corrections, Department of Environmental Management, Department of Labor and Training, Department of Public Safety, Department of Revenue, Department of Transportation, Executive Office of Commerce. And then at the end in purple, it says other commissions and agencies. That's like other duties as assigned. But the one we're looking at is the one, there's one in blue with an arrow over it, and it says Executive Office of Health and Human Services. That's where it starts. So there's a whole executive office. These are kind of like in the federal government, there's the cabinet, there's cabinet positions like Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, like those are cabinet positions. In Rhode Island, these are the equivalent of those. There are all these different state agencies. And so here is another slide which has the state of Rhode Island on the top left and the icon, the symbol, I can't remember, logo, that's the word I'm thinking of. The logo for the Executive Office of Health and Human Services on the right, because this is the state agency that we're looking at. The big top part here is the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, EOHHS. You'll hear that word if you go to a lot of public state meetings and stuff, EOHHS. And that has underneath it, it has 4 departments. So we have executive offices, and then and then underneath that, they have 4 departments. One is DCYF, which is Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Then there's DOH, which is the Department of Health. There's DHS, which is Department of Human Services, which I always thought would have PD services under it for some reason, because Health and Human Services, but it's a whole separate. Health and Human Services is like Medicaid and things that public assistant kind of things. The other department, it has this whole other department, which is where that law at the beginning that we read at the beginning, the image this read started with is BHDDH, which people call Buddha, right, Keith? Buddha. I mean, when you hear them mention Buddha, this is what it is, and it stands for Behavioral Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Hospitals. And that underneath that, see, developmental disabilities, I underlined that because that's where we're at. So anybody else want to try to read this slide since I've been reading the other 2? Anybody want to give it a shot? I can just keep going. I don't care. Yeah, there you go, Carmen. Carnita! Read the words at top. Do that and then tell us what it says in the boxes. Do whatever you got.
DERPA.
D, you sounding it out, deep.
Department of.
We just said this word before.
Send it out.
BHAVIORAL.
That one actually sounds a lot like the way it's spelled.
Behavioral health.
Yeah, behavioral health. And then the middle line there with the 2 D's.
DELOPMENTGTAL. Developmental.
Yeah.
And hospitals.
Yeah, developmental disabilities and hospitals. And so that's BHDDH. Buddha has 3 divisions. There are divisions at this level. There's the behavioral health, which is like people that have mental illness, and substance abuse goes under there too. It's a state things that take care of them, not the private places. And then the DD part is developmental disabilities, and then state hospitals, which are like Eleanor Slater and Zamorano Hospital. They're state hospitals. It doesn't mean like Rhode Island Hospital, or it's like state hospitals. So that is what's underneath Buddha. So we're getting into developmental disabilities, which is, see, a little arrow came up pointing developmental disabilities. And oh, by the way, thank you, Carmen.
Yeah,
that was good, Rin. Yeah. And on the top, so on the top right there, there's the state of Rhode Island map on the left, and on the top right, there's the seal, the logo for Buddha. Just when you see things, and that's got like the Rhode Island symbol with the arrow in front of it. on it, and it's got the state of Rhode Island Hope, and then around it it has developmental disabilities, behavioral health care, developmental disabilities, and hospitals. So here is the Division of Developmental Disabilities. Would someone like to read that slide? Someone else who hasn't read yet? Come on, there we go, Lena. All right.
The title says Division of DD, responsible for planning, funding, and overseeing a community system of services and supports for adults with intellectual and significant developmental disabilities. And to the right of that is an image of an older man, and it looks like a young man, and they're both smiling at each other.
They actually specifically chose a person, that person has Down syndrome, which is considered a significant developmental disability. But it depends, like they have all these, they have like 9 different, I forget how many, but you have to get to have a developmental disability. That's in state law too. And there's a lot of hoops almost, like you have to need help in a certain number of areas, major life areas. They say that because some people have like a little bit of cerebral palsy, which is considered a developmental disability, but it's not considered a significant developmental disability. So, you know, that's why they add the word significant to that. But this is why this slide here, that's underneath all that parts of government stuff, is why on the first slide where it said, well, not the first slide was the elephant, but the beginning where Amethyst read that one about the state law, this is, see, it does what the state law said. It's planning, funding, and overseeing. Who wants to tell us what overseeing means? Go ahead, Anna. What's overseeing?
That you oversee something.
And what's Auntie Rhonda? What's on overseeing? Add to that.
When you help people make decisions, or you oversee, you I don't know.
I know it's hard to define it without using the word oversee, because Angela can't say.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, if you imagine an umbrella, okay, the umbrella is over all of it. So they're not the ones that actually do give you the services. They oversee the system that gives you the services. They fund them, but Amethyst doesn't go out and to provide direct support, right, Amethyst? So, you know, they oversee it. They have an umbrella over the whole thing, and they make sure it all functions. But they don't do the day-to-day part. They oversee the people that do the day-to-day part, like the DD agencies. They're called DDOs in the law, Developmental Disability Organizations.
They look over.
Yeah.
Like,
you still use the word over. I know we can't
yeah, I know.
over.
I can't.
Oversee, over. They look over. They're over it. But we get the idea, right? So they plan it, like planning how's it all going to work, and make some of the rules and the laws or whatever, and then funding it. Yep, they pay for that, and then they just make sure that they're above it. Like, you know, the cool thing is that, and more so in recent years, and especially like Kevin Savage has said this publicly multiple times, that he is not going to have the division making decisions without asking the people who get supports for their input, which is very cool, because it didn't always used to be that way. Were you going to say something, Dee?
I was just no, it'll be too confusing for people. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right, here. So there we go. Now we're going to be able to start diving in and talk about person-centered, because you have a question, Joe?
I just wanted to see if I can read that.
Oh, yes,
for you.
please. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so it says DD services and supports, and below there's a box with all goals. It all says a house, a smiley face, a heart, and it shows like driving. It looks like the roads and driving on a little poster board. It shows movies, popcorn. It shows a music note. It shows a suit, like a case, like a briefcase. It shows a car, and it shows also graduation. Looks like they want to graduate.
And like you said at the beginning, you just said at the beginning, goals. That was exactly. And what does it say on that folder in the middle there?
Oh, my ISP, by me, with me, for me.
Oh yeah, and the other paper says my goals. Yeah, see, you got it, Joe. That's exactly what the slide says. So it's a picture of a person's support plan. It's got a picture of a person and the things that they want to do and on the right, their goals. So the DD system was set up to help people think about what they want to do and be able to do them, to like have a successful life, not to make their life any more special or different or better than people without developmental disabilities, but to, remember we said this at the beginning with we said this in the disability rights stuff, that it's to level the playing field. And so some people need some support to be able to do the same things that other people don't need support to do.
Everyone's special in their own way.
So this is where the law got us. The law said that Rhode Island needs to have a system to support people with developmental disabilities, significant developmental disabilities. And this is it does it. And so the idea is you need to have you get. I didn't put in the things about applying and getting approved and all the steps for that for DD services, because that would have taken us a week, like every day for a week, you know. But I did put in more stuff about laws because we're getting up to service plans. So Joe, you want to do one more?
Sure. It says Rhode Island RI General Laws 40.1-21-4.3 service plans. And it shows a mallet and a book that says the law on it.
So there was the big law, like the Rhode Island general law, pretty much 40 has to do with this Rhode Island thing. This has to do with developmental system. It's got a whole, I think I have the links to them in somewhere, but I can put them up there if you want to like bore yourself to tears. You can read all of the laws and the little bits and pieces of it. But this one, it actually says your service plan is actually in state law. It's mandated that you have to have one. And I'm even going to show you. I know it's a lot to read. Here's from the State of Rhode Island General Assembly website. This is hard to read, so I have it on another slide, which will be easier to read. And it has a link to where you can find it. So when you go on the our leadership page, you'll be able to click and say, oh, let me look up that law. It says individualized program plan or general service plan. And let's just look at it here instead. Michelle has to read this one for us.
Oh, I can do
Slowly,
that.
so we can,
Go ahead,
slowly we can talk
Michelle.
about each piece, Michelle.
You what now?
Just do it one piece at a
One at
time
a
and ask
time,
people,
yeah.
explain, you know.
Okay. So it says 7, individualized program plan or general service plan. It means a plan, however named, that includes, but shall not be limited to, the following. And the first one is an evaluation of the strengths, difficulties, needs, and goals of the individual. Does anybody want to explain what that means? Does
Anybody
we want-
named D? D knows what that means. D's gonna do the explaining piece.
I do. So it means it's supposed to look at like what you're good at and what you need help with. And then it also wants to know about your goals. Like, what do you want to do? Or what do you need to do?
And the services that you end up getting, the things that you do, need to be tied to your service plan. Like you can't just suddenly say, hey, I want to use my supports to go to Bermuda. I mean, you know, I don't know how you're going to tie that to your service plan anyway, but it needs to be tied to goals in your service plan. You can change your plan if something new comes up and you're like, oh, I think I do want to go back I want to go to school. You can put it in your plan if it's not. But if it's not in your plan, it has to be in your plan before you use your paid supports to do it.
Okay. The second thing that has to be in the plan is a description of those services found to be necessary or appropriate to assist the individual in realizing his or her potential for self-sufficiency in major life activities. Deanne.
So, so all this needs is really, it goes back to what Deb just said, right? So all the support that you need has to be tied into, but it also has to list how you're gonna do that. Like, how is your agency, or if you self-direct, how is that gonna happen? And so if you need help with daily living, you know, what kind of help is that, and who's gonna help you?
And the big word I think in there, the two words are necessary or appropriate. Because you know, I know, like if you use a wheelchair, then if there's I have a better example. So we had a friend who's on our board, who in his plan years ago, which he hadn't seen. I mean, he's blind, but that's not what I mean about he hadn't seen it. We're just at the plan meeting, and one of the goals was for him to learn to stay home on his own, to learn how to become more independent in his own apartment. And at the meeting, I'm like, oh, excuse me, but like, he takes the ride bus all over the state on his own. So what are we talking about here? Because it wasn't an appropriate goal. It wasn't necessary or appropriate. So it's got to be something that ties the person, because maybe it's an important goal for somebody, but the plan writer tried to get out of it by saying, this means for him to learn how to do it at home. And no, like that's still not really appropriate. If he can go around the state by himself, then it's really not appropriate to say, but we're going to teach him how to do it at home.
And this, beyond that fact, which was, kind of not right, not what the individual wanted to do. So again, all this has to be tied into what you need help with and what you want to learn and what you want to do. So it's not like, we haven't gotten there yet to needs, wants, have we?
What?
No,
Did we
not
do
yet.
needs and wants yet? No, we didn't.
No,
do
no,
that.
no.
Yeah.
But
That's
so,
good.
so that's a whole, but it has to be something that you want in your plan.
And it has to be like it said back.
Oh, you muted
You're
yourself.
on mute.
Gonna just put this
Got
slide back
excited.
up. That it says it has in helping you. The reason for it also is tied to realizing where did I put the share screen thingy? Woohoo! The second part here, what Michelle just read, that it's also that it's they're necessary or appropriate for helping you realize your potential for self-sufficiency in major life activities. So those major life activities are the things that you aren't that helps define what a developmental disability is. There's a bunch of major life activities, and if you're not self-sufficient in those and in a certain number of those, it's it's tied into you having a developmental disability. Were you going to say something more about that one, Michelle?
I was just going to say that this list, we're only 2 in out of all these, but this list reminds me of how Deb puts all of this in a nutshell with the 2 questions.
Yeah.
How do you want to live your life?
They're
And what do
coming.
you need?
They're coming. You
Yeah.
can tell them
Oh,
now,
okay.
but they're in all this
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
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 All of these things, it comes down to those 2 questions. So that's a little spoiler for what's coming. But
Yeah.
keep that in mind as you're going through these, and then it's not as overwhelming when you realize that. That's all this is.
But this is the law, just so you know. This has
This
to
is the law,
happen.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have to put a lot of words in it to make sure that it covers every type of situation. Because, yeah. All right. So the third one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. A description of the agencies and or individuals who or that are supposed to provide each of the recommended services.
So all that means is who's going to help you do that. So is it going to be Refocus? Is it going to be Avatar? Is it going to be somebody, if you self-direct, is it going to be somebody that is it going to be a you don't
put the staff person's name in it. You
Yeah.
put that I'll
Yeah.
have individual support staff. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I mean. So who's
Yeah.
going to do it?
Good.
Any questions so far? Keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep going then. All right, number 4, the intermediate and long range objectives for the individual's development and habilitation.
Go ahead, T.
So I don't even know how to explain this. It's so the long-term goal, like
A goal is this big thing. An objective is like the steps you're going to climb
right,
to reach the goal.
right.
So
And
that's pretty much, and Morella's shaking her head because do you write yeah. So you want to give us more, Morella?
So for example, you get a goal, I don't know, get a job at Stop and Shop. And the first objective is apply for the interview by this date. The second objective is follow up with the job description or whatever. So that's just 3 objectives or 1 objective to complete the huge goal, like Deb said.
But But they have to say individual development and habilitation. That's like just living your life, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course, who can help you with complete the goal and follow up. Yep.
So that's the thing. Even if you're, and every year your plan should be something new, which we'll still get into more later. But like none of this, like, oh, I'm just going to change the date on it. Even if you decide yes, you still want to work on a goal because you didn't reach it the last time, that's okay. But the objectives should be different because, like Marella just said, they're kind of like by when, not just like I'm going to do this. Like, are you going to do it every day? Are you going to do it once a week? Are you going to do it like, 3 times a year? Whatever it's going to be. Like, it's got to have a little bit more details. And again, it's because it's got to be something that's like measurable. That's
measurable.
Like,
I was going to say everything now has to be measurable. How many times and and a lot of times too. Even though a lot of folks they make plans, I mean big goals, and then they realize they cannot complete that goal within a year, and then you have the right to say no, that's not the goal for me, and I will change it. Then I change it to a different objective or whatever might be the case. Or
So instead of this big massive thing, like, well, maybe we'll just take it down a few notches, because there's always next year, you guys. So like, if there's a big goal, if your goals are getting a job, maybe the first year really is just like doing some exploring and seeing, well, what kind of job do I want? I'll try out 3 different volunteer jobs, or I'll try working at a couple places and throw it against the wall and see what sticks. Maybe not like that. Okay. We still good without questions? We're still.
And we have 10 minutes.
Okay, then let's go back to this. Thank you, Dee. All right, keep going, Michelle.
Okay.
5.
Number 5, the expected duration for the provision of the services.
That's easy.
So how long do you think it's gonna take you to do that? To reach that goal?
And plans are annual.
And
so it doesn't, but you can just say, I'm going to start this part now and this by this time. And, but next year you're going to need to start it over again. Just say, well, I'm going to take 2 years for this goal, so I don't need to write it again. No, you're going to carry it over.
Have to put it there.
Yeah.
Right. Number 6, a description of the tests and other evaluative devices used and their results.
The SIS.
So this is more than that now. The state has changed this.
And there's
an individual questionnaire. There's 3 things now. There's your SIS, which is now the SIS second edition Rev A or something. And there's that, which is not meant to find out what you're not good at. People always think, oh, I hate that thing. And always ask me these questions of things I can't do. It's meant to find out how much support, how intense, how much support do you need to be successful? So imagine you don't have any support in your life at all. If you don't have any support. What do you need? Not like what can't you do, but what would you need to be able to do it? That's what the SIS is. But now the state has added this other personal assessment kind of thing. I forget what it's called. I sent it to Ann, but it's like another questionnaire. They're going to ask you other things because people have said over the years, this doesn't cover everything. And then after those 2, then after you get all the results back and stuff, then you're going to have an individual meeting to look at it. Do you know what the 3 questions are, Amethyst? Because it says on the state, they're going to ask you some questions, and it says there's 3 questions that they're going to ask you at that meeting, but I don't know what they are. But we'll find out and tell you. But that's just to say, to give you a chance to like stop, because you're going to have your SIS, and it's going to help and your other meeting, and it's going to help to determine how much funding, how much of a budget will you have to spend on services, because it's all based on need. It's not based on whether they like you or where you live, or it's based on what you need to be successful. And so you're going to get that. But if you get it, there's still going to be a place where you're going to have a meeting afterwards to talk about it and say, hey, are you crazy? This isn't what, or just, to talk about, well, did we miss anything or what's going on? And it's an opportunity to try to prevent, because some people would, in the past, it was like people had their SIS and then they just were like, they had no recourse or how do I talk to people about this? This isn't right. Still any questions? You're supposed to be at your SIS, by the way. But people have said, I don't go, my staff go, my agency goes for you. You're supposed to be there, just so you know. And it's supposed to not be an intimidating thing for you. You're supposed to be empowering.
Yeah, you're supposed to be there, but if you decide like after 10 minutes I can't do this, then that's okay too. But you should at least attempt to start it and go through it. Because again, this is your life.
And you have to have at least two other people with you who have known you for at least 3 months and can be objective and knows about you more than just like, hey, I just met this person 3 months ago, but like they
Right.
know kind of like what you need and what you're like and what you dislike.
And we're gonna talk more about that, but there are 6 areas that people should know. If they're gonna be at your CIS, they should know some of the. they
Yeah,
should
like how you
know-
communicate and what
Yeah.
your, advocacy, a bunch of different areas. But we're gonna overwhelm you with it now, so we'll keep
Yes.
going.
And how Deb said that you should be at your CIS, because we have heard stories of people that the agency went or their mom went and did it, because, for whatever reason. And it can seem really overwhelming and maybe a little bit scary, or maybe like you don't really get it, so you don't really want to be involved, or you don't like new situations. Whatever it is, like Deb said and Deanne said, try it, like go. Just go. And if after 10 minutes you're not okay, you can leave, but try, because it's really important. If you take one thing away from the leadership series,
Right.
it's your life. You need to be a part of it. Don't let somebody else constantly be making the decisions for you and going to all the meetings for you and doing all the work for you. Like, do what you can, try to be involved as much as you can. That's a first step.
Yep.
So little encouragement there. Go to your
And we'll
sis.
talk a little bit, like
Yeah.
you said, we'll talk a little bit more about this
Yeah.
because it has a bad rap and it really shouldn't. It is actually supposed to be like one of the first tools to help do person-centered planning because it helps identify where do you need support. People think it's just a list of questions like, what are you bad at? What can't you do? What can't you do? It's not. Everyone on this screen can tell you we can tell you more things that we can't do than we can do. Like you might not realize it, but there's more things that every one of us can't do than we can. And so in these different areas Dee mentioned, what are some general things about what do you need help with so you can succeed? So there's only
I can't lift 300 pounds like Keith can,
Yep.
but Keith can't lift 400 pounds yet.
Yeah.
See, I'll have things we can't. Okay.
These are
Number
just
7.
blah blah things here. The next one's a blah blah. Go ahead.
Oh, it's a blah blah. Okay. Proposed criteria for monitoring and evaluating the success of the services and meeting the individual's needs.
That's blah, 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 but how do you know it's working?
And it should always include you in that, you guys. It should
Yeah.
always include asking you. It shouldn't just be, well, this person will blah blah blah. It's like in whatever way you communicate, you should be included in how do you evaluating it. You should be part of evaluating the services you're getting.
It shouldn't
Otherwise,
just
how do
be,
you know?
yeah, it shouldn't just be data, like,
Right.
it should be actual conversations.
Just do that last one because this is a biggie. We said
Yes,
this.
this is 'cause this is what we were talking about earlier, right? The signatures, this is what should be included in your plan. The signatures of the preparers of the plan, which is like going to be your plan writers or whoever,
The agency.
and the date.
And you're one of the preparers of your plan. I mean, it's also you sign it once they put it together for you and you legally write off on it, but your signature needs to be on there also. It absolutely must be. It's not like an option.
Because whatever the plan writer wrote needs to be the things that the person
Right.
wants, right? So like it can't be written without you, because who else knows your life better than you?
I'll show you a
was
sneak
gonna-
preview of one slide. Here's your sneak preview, Michelle, just so you know. This is where we'll start next week, you guys. This is the next slide. It says person-centered planning, question 1. How do I want to live my life? Be thinking about that, you guys. Not, just how do I want to live it? Not like, what do I want to do? How do I want to live it? Do I want to live it as a person in the country? Do I want to live it like as a person who goes back to school? It's a big general, how do I want to live it? And that part of what comes with that is thinking outside of the box, which we'll also talk about. Because it doesn't have to be lived within what services the system offers you. It shouldn't be because it'll be a really tiny life. Really tiny.
I just have one more thing to say before we let people go. When you get your plan, you should always look at it, and have it in a way, or have somebody help you read it and read it back, and then sign it. You should never sign it
Oh yeah.
just because it's time to sign it. You should actually have somebody read it back and then sign it, if you agree.
And a cool thing you could do which people don't talk about much, but I always thought, well, why don't you? So if you have like 5 goals, initial every goal. Like when they tell you this, you know, like 'cause some people do on contracts because maybe, you know, there's one goal, you're like, no, I don't want that goal. So you initial the other ones, but like, yeah, that one's coming out. And then you probably have to redo the plan, but you should like not just a blanket, yeah, I agree with the whole thing, but be involved, like Dee said, like know what it says and be involved with it. And the perfect example was when Dan said, Auntie Rhonda has it, I guarantee you that you read it to him, right? Yeah, like, because he can't see it. So that's an example, that's a way of talking about accessibility that, you know, it shouldn't just be in a drawer file cabinet somewhere for the agency. It's that you have to explain it to the person.
And Dan was obviously at the meeting and
Yeah.
he said what he wanted to do.
Yeah, it was on that was on Zoom too.
Yeah, but your plan, when you wrote your plan, you're the one that shared what you wanted to do.
Oh yeah, when
Yeah.
Patricia came here.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's exactly it. All right.
Good. Everybody catch all that? There'll be a test next week. No. Yes, Joe.
I just realized we're not recording, are we?
Yes, we are.
We are. Yes.
It's always this.
We
Yeah.
are recording.
Okay.
It says it's recording
so
on my
the-
computer. Maybe you're not recording, but we are. Oh my
Speaking of
gosh.
recording, after everybody's gone, you know, everybody can leave when we dismiss in a second. Auntie Rhonda, stay on because we're gonna get that other video from you, okay? All right. Well, that's it for today. That was a lot of information. You guys were troopers getting through all that. It's gonna start getting more fun from here because reading laws isn't usually fun, but it's
it's good to
important to know
know.
what the law is. You have to know. So
My favorite
Good.
part though was the beginning when you guys all shared all those tips and stuff, and we
Yeah.
just talked about that because that's
Good.
how you learn. And
Yeah, that was
thank
a
you,
great conversation.
Thank you, Carlina, for that. That was very helpful. That was very just
Yeah.
brave also to share that.
That's your new name now.
It is.
Carlina.
Carlina!
We're gonna have t-shirts made. That's it.
Yeah, Team Carlina.
Any young person, does anybody remember what that's called when you mash up the two names? I can't remember what it's called. It was a trend for a while. Does everybody remember that? No. Am I the only one? And I learned it from youngins. It wasn't in my world, but like you take
Yeah,
two
it
names.
was because it was like J-Lo with Ben Affleck was like
Yes.
something
Oh,
to
yeah.
get all the.
Ben
I
You know
can't
what I'm saying.
remember now.
Yeah.
Because they used to. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know what are you coming
Thank
from,
you.
Michelle? But I can't.
Thank you.
They're called ship names.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Thank
Your
you.
shift name, SHIFT, right? Making sure. Shift.
Combine the two
Okay.
names. So Carlina, that's your, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Wait, nobody, wait. I just want to say something. I just want to make sure that if. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Still here,
Yeah, Joe,
yeah.
it was recording. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. See you next week. Same time, same bat channel. Produced by Advocates in Action, Rhode Island, 2024. Remember, nothing about us without us.